welcome in to the OnlyBets Sports Betting Podcast alongside my co-host SternBets and DrewDelucci. I am PrinceOfPicks. We have got an excellent slate of matches taking place today across the sports landscape that we're really interested and excited to get into. Of course, we've got Champions League in soccer, European action all over the continent. Of course, we've got NBA in action tonight, college basketball. We are in the March Madness tournament time here, so we've got some action, of course, in there. NHL, I believe, is also in action. Then, of course, we've got the World Baseball Classic. We're getting down towards the end here of that. That's been an awesome tournament, and I'm sure we'll have some plays and looks for you guys for that tournament as well. So, great time to be a sports fan. Great time to invest in sports, and we're excited to get into the slate today. Before we do that, if you guys can do us a real quick favor, head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you're listening to us. Give us a real quick rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. It does a great deal in helping us get this out to more listeners. With that being said, let me go and pass it over to my co-host, Mr. SternBets. Mr. Mosh, good morning on this beautiful Tuesday morning. How are you, sir?
It's almost beautiful if it was just 60 degrees warmer. But yeah, no, it is a great day. We have an amazing day of sports ahead of us. We have the World Baseball Classic final championships. We have March Madness starting today. We have Champions League. This is just wealth. Oh, really just such a great day. Just one of the best days of sports of the year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I feel like we're a little bit spoiled right now with just how many sports we're just converging here at the same time. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch and a lot of fun to bet on too as well.
Yeah, I'm very excited. But let's bring in our main man, Drew, here, who gave us an incredible show last night, breaking down every single game in March Madness, the tournament, the first four. Definitely go listen to that if you haven't already. And if you have, I'm sure that we have a little bit more to add today. Hey, Drew, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Amazing day in sports for sure. And I'll say this now. Really quick breaking news: the Broncos traded for Jalen Waddle, which was a big trade for them. So I figure I say that real quick. That was a big trade. But overall, I'm looking forward to today. I know we're going to recap our best bets from yesterday. And we're to spoil because I think the World Cup is this year as well. Like, what's going on? Like, this is amazing. Like, this is a gift.
It truly is. It really is.
It really is. And by the way, interesting you bring up the World Cup. We got qualifiers next week, which you guys already know I'll be heavy into that. And your Missouri going to be taking on Northern Ireland in a home and away leg. Preview here, just a quick preview. I'm worried for the Missouri. I'm a little bit worried for them.
If we miss two straight World Cups, it'll be a disappointment to the country.
They've already missed two straight. This would be a third straight, which is
this would be a third straight, right?
Unfathomable for a team like Italy, who has won the World Cup many times, multiple-time world champion, to miss not only 2 World Cups but 3 World Cups. I can't imagine how the Italian media will receive that if that happens. Yeah, and I think all the pressure is going to be on them. I don't want to get too deep into it. We'll wait for next week when it gets closer to the match. But I just want to bring that up with you, being an Italian and a Missouri fan. Good luck, but we'll see. They're heavily favored, and they should be. But I don't know. There's going to be a lot of pressure on them. But anyway, to the point of all the sports here, just a lot of fun and exciting. Stern, where did you want to take us first?
I think we want to take down World Baseball Classic. How's that for a start?
Sure, go ahead. Go for it, guys. What do we got on that?
I actually want to hear Drew's thoughts yesterday on Italy. I just kind of want to rub it in his face just a little bit. Although,
for sure.
Say they played their hearts out, and they had a very good chance of winning that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'll just say that. And you know what? I'll say, yeah, of course, the over did hit for the Magic. Unfortunately, I do not know what happened to the Avalanche. It was like a 4-2. It was like a 4-2 game in the first period, and they didn't know how to defend. But when it comes to the Italy game, when I was watching it, I'm happy that they did only lose by 2 runs more because I ended up doing 2.5 in that matter. But it was just a really bad, I believe it was the 7th inning. It was a 6th or 7th inning, and it was really bad because it was 2-1 with 2 outs, and then they got like 4 straight 2-out hits. It was just clutch hitting. I think one of the biggest disadvantages that Italy faced was terrible managing by the Italy manager. As soon as Acuna got that infield hit, they should have took out Lorenzen. This separates the great managers from the good managers, the MLB managers from the great managers. No offense to him, but I know Lorenzen, he was your best pitcher, but you need to know when you're pitching, no matter how good he is, to take him out. We saw it with Skeens. Skeens still could have gone one more batter, but Mark Del Rosa saw, hey, they were getting to him a little bit, right? No matter he's Skeens, he's mislocating. He brought in Tyler Rogers. He made Soto hit into a double play. So that's the key thing, is managing in this. And Italy got out managed, and they got out hit. And at the end of the day, the Venezuela bullpen reigned supreme. They haven't given up a run the whole World Baseball Classic. So shout out to them. They won. Italy had an amazing run. And I am just appreciative to watch that. No one expected them to even make it to the elimination rounds. The fact they made it to the semifinals was very impressive. And you know what? Congratulations, Venezuela. This is the first time I believe they ever made it to the final. And it's hard to believe it's the first time in the final because of their rich history. But the reason for that is Puerto Rico, DR, and Japan and USA have dominated pretty much the last 5 World Baseball Classics, 5, 6.
Yeah, the fact, I mean, I think we can literally say this, that the entire baseball program has just got a huge reboot in Italy from their performance over US and Mexico. I mean, those 2 victories were the best victories in the entire history for Italy ever, right? Has there ever been a bigger victory for them?
And Puerto Rico too. Like, that's even
And
crazy.
Puerto Rico. Yeah, that was a good game too. I faded them in all 3 of those games. And they took my money. Okay, so looking forward to tonight. Venezuela really got in from their pitching, right? I think that's safe to say. Not to say that Ronald Acuna and William Contreras and crew, Wilber Abreu, who incredible game just 2 nights ago, that home run to clinch that game against Japan. So we're looking at the U.S. versus Venezuela. If I'm looking here correctly, and they are subject to change like they did yesterday, I have Eduardo Rodriguez and Nolan McLean facing off. Nolan McLean pitching for the U.S. Why are they pitching him? Why aren't they pitching one of their stars? I thought we were going to get Scooble.
So Scooble left, and he was going to stay, but the Tigers called him back. That's the problem.
I must have missed that news, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's an important piece here. So Nolan McLean, I'm just going to assume, is going to fill in for as many innings as possible. They're going to be really a short leash, and then they're going to just move on to their bullpen and basically give everyone 1-2 innings, just like they would in an All-Star game.
Yeah, and USA has them. Like, I think they need to change this. I know, of course, want USA to win, but USA has the massive advantage because they have relievers getting 1 day of rest. Next time, I think, I don't think they did this last year, but next time they need to make it so that they play on the same day, because the fact that Venezuela, they won't have any, and none of their relievers will have the full day of rest that they probably need in that matter. And USA is going to have a bunch of relievers that have a full day of rest. So Mason Miller will be able to pitch again. Bednar will be able to pitch again. You know, if you just keep going down the line, like Tyler Rogers and so on. And I will say something about Edward Rodriguez. He was a really good pitcher for the Diamondbacks, and he's a pretty dang good pitcher. You could make an argument Eduardo Rodriguez when Merrill Kelly left, was the best pitcher in the Diamondbacks organization. And I know a lot of these pitchers, though, this is a good advantage for both. A lot of these pitchers have faced Eduardo. A lot of these batters have faced Eduardo Rodriguez, and a lot of these batters have faced haven't faced Nolan McLean. I think Nolan McLean performance against Italy doesn't depict how good he was as a rookie, because his rookie year he had like a 2.06 ERA. So I think he just had an off day and he didn't have his curveball. So hopefully the nerves don't get ahead of him.
Yeah, something to note here, the differences between the pitchers. Nolan McLean has a 60.2% ground ball rate, which is unbelievable. Now, it is on a shorter sample size than Eduardo Rodriguez, but Eduardo Rodriguez has a 38.9% ground ball rate, which is solidly below league average. Not only that, he has an extremely low whiff rate at 23% and a strikeout rate at 20.6%. None of that spells success against a very, powerful USA club. Now, He does have an incredible hard hit rate. So when people are getting touching him, they're not hitting him that hard, which sounds good. But combine that with a low ground ball rate, and I think we see a lot of loopers and dupers into the outfield that can kind of ruin Rodriguez's day against a really solid USA club. And if we're talking about matching lineup to lineup, how are you going to compare Aaron Judge, Roman Anthony, Kyle Schwarber, Bobby Witt, and I'll just go down the entire list. Superstar after superstar after superstar. And I'm not saying that Venezuela doesn't have the bats to compete. They do have Acuna, who could be one of the best players in the entire game with the energy he brings. But if you go down the list, yeah, you have Suarez, you have some people here, but they're not in the same caliber as the U.S. So I'm going to give the starting rotation, the starting pitching, the relievers, the lineup, everything kind of points towards U.S. And I think that's why we're seeing, the -2 300 line on the USA to win it now. I gotta say, I don't think that it's enough. You can get a -1.5 spread at -128. If I didn't have a future on USA, that's where I would be taking this line. And honestly, I'm going to just take a half a unit on that right now. I think that there's enough value on there where I think it's worth the price of admission. I do.
I agree with you. Especially with somebody who does watch, like I actually will watch them at baseball because of my wife. And I think about Eduardo Rodriguez. When he's on, he's on. When he's off, he's off. But I expect this is where USA's offense is finally going to explode. I'm not counting them, dominating like Brazil and dominating the other. I'm talking about, those 5-3 games ahead with Mexico or Canada. Like I think we're going to see their offense explode just because of what you said about Eduardo Rodriguez. Eduardo Rodriguez, something about him is really good at getting short flyouts. But I expect this lineup for USA to be able to get on top of those because they have a good scouting report about him. That's where his advantage is, right? I guarantee you, these lineups rather face pitchers they face in some. I know it sounds crazy, but some like minor league player or some player that pitches in Japan because they don't know what they're going to have the first time around. And another thing that is a big key is I think. Right. And what Mark DeRosa did, they need to do it again. Have Gunnar Henderson start over Alex Bregman. And that's just my personal opinion. I like how they start with PCA and they brought in Buxton later, but we need to keep Gunnar in here. And I appreciate how well Alex Bregman has handled this personally. And I love how all of them are bought in. Because remember, Cal Raleigh sat last game and Will Smith was batting. So I love the ego aside for this USA team. They just want to win.
Yeah. And you're going to see that. We saw them buckle down last game. Great pitching performance. And I do expect their bats to wake up at some point. And it's the end of the line, boys. It's time to wake up. All right. Let's talk Turkey and soccer. Prince, do you want to give us just maybe, I know we did an episode yesterday, but do you by any chance want to give us just a little bit of a preview, maybe one game that you're looking at here for later today, or it could be anywhere, I guess, outside of the Champions League. We have some domestic as well. I'm going to hand it off to you for just a quick second here. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I do have some. There is some other domestic leagues going on today as well. So I do have a couple plays here, a couple parlays, I should say, in some of the domestic leagues that we have going on here. So I'll go ahead and cover those right now, guys. First up here, we're gonna go to a little bit more of an obscure league. And by the way, guys, just as a quick disclaimer, a lot of these plays that are in the more obscure leagues, you're gonna find those on Bet365. So I would strongly suggest checking your books and see if that book is available in your state, right? Because these books are available state by state, so it's different. But if you're a soccer bettor, Bet365 is a must-have. Now, we're not sponsored by any books here, so until we are, I'm going to continue to give Bet365 all of my love and props here because it is by far and away the best book in terms of options to bet on here in soccer matches and soccer leagues. So real quick here, these are going to be on Bet365. We're looking at the England National League North. We have two games here going on with the two teams that are very high-scoring teams here. First up, we got AFC Fylde taking on Hereford United. I'm looking at over 2.5 goals here as a parlay piece. Both of these teams are averaging over 2.5 goals scored over their last 5 matches. Not to mention, over 2.5 has hit in 7 straight head-to-head between these two sides. Safe to say, AFC Filed is a team that we have been attacking week in and week out, and we've been cashing out tickets left to right on this team. They are just a prolific scoring team in the England National League North. So, over 2.5 goals here between AFC Filed and Hereford. And we're going to parlay that with another match in the same league here, the England National League North, where we have the AFC Telford United going to be taking on Macclesfield. In this one, I like over 1.5 goals here. Both of these teams are averaging 2 goals scored over their last 5 matches. Over 1.5 has hit in 4 of the last 5 head-to-head between these two sides. Again, this is a team specifically in Telford United that scores and concedes on a regular basis. So getting over 1.5 goals with them, parlayed with over 2.5 goals with AFC Filed Hereford, you're going to get that parlay at minus 130. Stern, I'm not going to ask for your thoughts on this because I'm sure you have none on the England National League North. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Are we on Bet365 for this one?
We are on Bet365 for this one, yes. So, again, you might find this on offshore books if you have offshore books. Maybe Bovada, something like that may have these plays. But as far as your domestic books, from what I've seen, it's only been on 365. Have you seen another book with it, sir?
No, but I think we should just call it Books That Shall Not Be Named.
There you go. Books that shall not be named. Exactly. Good call. All right. And then next up here, we're staying in the England National League, but we're going to the South Division here. So England National League South, where we have 2 more games here. I'm looking at Farnborough taking on Dagenham Redbridge. I like Dagenham to score here as part of a parlay piece. Farnborough, they have allowed a league high 74 goals in the England National League South. That's about 2 goals conceded per match in the division here. Meanwhile, we have the other game here, that I'm looking at to parlay this with is going to be between Dorking United and Enfield Town. Dorking, I like them on a draw no bet in this one. Dorking come into the one first place, top of the table in the England National League South. Meanwhile, Enfield Town on the other side, 23rd. They are second to last in the table here, likely to be relegated to the 7th division. Guys, this is 6th division soccer we're talking about here. And this is just a very, very disappointing Enfield Town right now, having a disappointing season. Not to mention here, Dorking come into this one undefeated in 3 straight head-to-head and 12 of their last 13 overall. So Dorking here in great form. Enfield not in good form. I like Dorking here with push insurance. Draw no bet. You're going to parlay that with Dagenham Redbridge just to score a goal. And you're going to get that parlay at minus 140. That's it for my domestic league plays. Other than that, we got Champions League in action today, of course. We did cover all the matches over on our podcast. You guys can listen to that. It's available now on the channel. Real quick, I'll just give you guys my favorite play of today, probably, where we have a match taking place here shortly, 12:45. One turn. With Bodo Glimt is going to be taking on Sporting. I'm all over Bodo Glimt, guys. I love this Bodo team. I think there's something in the water, something in the air. With Bodo, sometimes it just happens. You can't explain it. But this team is just playing lights out right now. They're on fire. And I like them here on a draw no bet, plus 330. I think we're getting great value here with push insurance for a team that's undefeated in 10 straight. So I'm all over Bodo here. I'm riding the Bodo train until the wheels fall off.
I love it. I love it. At that price, it's undeniable. And I also like your future on them. Hint, hint. Go listen to our podcast last night. I'm going to take 2 teams in a money line parlay. Both are down on aggregate, which means that even if they win today, they don't necessarily move on to the next round, but we don't care about that. Real Madrid is leading Manchester City 3-0. But I think that Man City is going to have the full tilt in the game. They're going to be holding the possession dominance. And I'm going to take them in a money line here because I think that, honestly, they score at least 1 or 2 goals. And I don't think that Real Madrid really counterattacks all that often until late. And even if they do, they're just going to try to bleed the game out. And I think that the same really kind of applies for the next game. But first leg here, Tuesday, today, Man City money line. I'm going to parlay that with tomorrow, Wednesday's game, Galatasaray versus Liverpool. Now, Galatasaray is a different team on the road, but they lead 1-0. I think Liverpool is going to be very happy with today's results. They didn't look bad. They had the better high danger chance creations in round one. They were really honestly lucky. Galatasaray was lucky to escape with the win here. I like them to get the win in today's matchup for a nice little payout at minus 118.
Yeah, I like it. I'm with you on that. I think I mean, I talked about it extensively over on the podcast, so I don't want to repeat everything again here. But I don't trust Liverpool. I don't trust Galatasaray. But Liverpool is favored for a reason. They should be. And getting them. The way I'll put it is Galatasaray still plus money to advance, even though they have a 1-0 lead. So I think that tells you everything you need to know about this matchup.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the NHL here. I don't have any plays that I really liked here. I am currently reworking my model after 2 straight days of losses. Now, I do understand that the reason why I lost was high variance. It happens in any sport. You're going to have high variance where the underdogs overperform on any given day. But I'm going to try to account for that going forward. So I'm laying off today. There was a few games that I thought was interesting, namely Carolina versus the Blue Jackets, the Hurricanes versus Blue Jackets. Slightest of leans with the underdog. I'm trying to work on my model, like I said, for underdog picks, because I've really just been favoring the favorites, which is normal when you're looking at shot creation and 5-on-5 metrics. So working on that. One underdog that I did maybe like was Chicago Blackhawks. Minnesota has not been themselves. They lost the last 4 out of 5 games. Chicago, they beat the Mammoths twice, but they've looked kind of embarrassing other than that. But I do think that they could be competitive here. At a plus 1.5 spread, I had to consider it. No official play for me, but that's kind of where I was leaning for the day. Drew, do you have any plays in the NHL?
Can I interject here real
Sure.
quick, guys? Just real quick. I see Michael has requested to speak. Michael, did you have anything for us? Good morning. Thanks for jumping in. Did you have anything for us? I didn't want to overlook that before we continue.
No. It was just a question to you, and I sent it in our group, so don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Cool. Yeah, I just want to make sure we didn't. there wasn't anything you had to ask us. Okay. Cool. Go ahead, Stern. Sorry about that. Continue.
No, it's all good. Just looking through the slate, not really finding anything that I absolutely loved here. Another one that I liked maybe was the Florida Panthers on the money line at minus 145, or maybe the 60-minute money line. But again, nothing real for me today. I'm kind of laying off on the NHL. But I wanted to ask Drew if he had any over/under leans. I know that we get the Oilers today, which is always a fun look. But the over 6.5 is juiced at minus 145, which is unplayable. Got any thoughts, Drew?
Yeah, I was looking at the slate, and since it is college basketball, and I do have an NBA play, I'm probably not gonna be on it. But there is one lean that I kind of liked, personally. It was the over. I think it's like over 6 for the Lightning game, Lightning Kraken. The Lightning have averaged like 4 goals per game in the past 5 games. And they just have been an over machine. I know that one game we bet on earlier didn't cash, but what was it for Seattle? It has won back-to-back games, averaging 5.5 goals per game, and the 2 wins over the Panthers and Canucks. So I personally can see a pretty high-scoring affair here. But this was the same line when we saw. I think it was like Lightning Senators, or whatever, which one it was, and that could be very suspicious again. But if I had a lean, it would be that.
Yeah, this is a very suspicious line indeed. Seattle's last 5 games have all hit 6+ goals. Tampa Bay, 4 of their last 5 games have hit 6+ goals. The sharp money is on the under, which really does worry me here because everything screams the over. Everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm probably going to stay off and just watch the game, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a good live opportunity spot. I'll have to run this through my model again, and maybe I'll pick up a side or a total, and I'll put it on Twitter later. Anything else in the NHL before we move to the NBA and then college basketball once again?
Nothing for me. Drew, got anything else?
Alrighty, let's get into the NBA. Prince, I'm going to hand it off to you. Similar to the NHL, not necessarily so much time after all of our shows yesterday, but when I looked through the slate, I didn't really find any advantageous spots. Now, you have multiple heavy favorites in Detroit, the Knicks, even Cleveland, Denver, but I don't necessarily like any of them to really cover or a bridge spread. Just didn't really find any value here. What did you see in today's slate?
Yeah, so the problem with this time of the year, guys, when you're heading towards the last few weeks of the NBA season, is you're going to see a lot of very inflated lines, right? Because the division between your good teams and your bad teams is more significant, and your bad teams are actively going all out trying to lose, right? Because unfortunately, the way the rules are set up, bad teams are incentivized to lose more, and then you have good teams that obviously are jockeying for playoff position and they want to go into the playoffs with good vibes and a good momentum. And so you're going to see anytime you have a team that's trying to win against a team that's trying to lose, you're going to see very, very, very large point spreads. And those are just tough to play against because there's always the opportunity for a backdoor cover, not to mention their money lines are highly inflated. And so it does make it tough to play them individually. But what I will say, and part of my parlay here, is I like to attack the games where you do have a winning team playing against a team that's trying to lose. And if you can find value parlaying those, that's the way that I personally am going to be approaching the end of the season here. And so with that in mind here, I have a 3-pick parlay. I like the Cavs on the money line taking on the Bucks. This one I just don't really trust the Bucks. I don't think the Bucks are any good, and I do think Cleveland is significantly better than them. So I'll take them on the money line here, parlayed with the Thunder on the money line taking on the Magic. Now, this is two teams that are obviously both trying to win, but for me, I just don't trust Orlando, and so I'll take the Thunder here on the money line. And then finally, you're going to parlay those two with the Spurs minus 4.5 here. I had to get it on a little bit of a spread just to get the juice, cut down the juice a little bit. But they're playing the Kings. Kings are terrible. Spurs should have no problem beating this team. Minus 4.5 should, in my opinion, I think they win this by double digits. If you wanted to tease this up to minus 5.5, minus 6.5, get it closer to plus money, I don't hate it. But for me, getting it minus 4.5, you're getting that parlay at minus 128. That's good enough for me. So again, Cavs money line, Thunder money line, Spurs minus 4.5. That one comes out to minus 128. And then, like I said, guys, another way to play these, again, if you're looking at teams that are incentivized to win, playing against teams that are incentivized to lose, that is going to happen more often than not. Right. And even if you see the losing team is winning right in the third quarter or something, not only is that a live bet opportunity, but you better believe that those losing teams that are winning, they're going to bench their players in the fourth quarter. We've seen it time and time again. It's going to continue to happen. They're going to do everything they can to lose the game. So you might be able to parlay, and I don't like to, officially recommend this, but in this case, it might be worth it. Maybe parlay 4 or 5 heavy favorites to win, right? Your odds might be like minus 400, minus 450. Guess what? That's almost free money, guys, because those teams, again, that are highly incentivized to win, that are playing teams that are highly incentivized to lose, the outcome is going to go in the favor that you want it to more often than not. And so just a recommendation, this is a time of year where I would personally be playing those kind of parlays. I'm not going to give them out officially, right? Because nobody wants to play a minus 400, minus 500 play publicly, but privately, absolutely. It's free money to me, and it's something that I'll be looking to attack going forward for the rest of the season.
Very interesting. And honestly, you can always throw them in as a parlay piece to try to get the value a little bit better. Always a chance. All right,
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm. Sorry, that's that. I don't know if maybe I misspoke. That's what I was saying is parlaying them together, right? So let's say, for example, I'll just do an example here. Let's say you have 4 minus 1,000 favorites, right? Parlay them together, right? That might come out to, I can't do the math here, but let's just say it's minus 500, right? So you're parlaying 4 money lines at minus 1,000, coming out to minus 500 value. Again, publicly, that's not something I'm going to give out. But depending on who the teams are, right? If it's a team fighting for playoff position against a team that's tanking, it's going to happen. Like it's overwhelmingly, it's going to happen. And so for me, that's almost free money. It's just a way that I'll be looking specifically the last few weeks of the season. You don't want to do it earlier, but the last few weeks, it's pretty safe to do.
Yeah, well said. Yeah. That's kind of that's an angle. All right, let's get into college basketball today. We have March Madness.
Oh, I actually have an NBA pick.
Oh, sorry, Drew.
Oh, you're good.
Go for it, man.
Yeah, first I'm going to say shout out to Kristaps Porzingis, 30 points in 26 minutes. I know it was the Wizards, but he looked amazing. I was watching it, 13 of 14 from the free throw line, 8 of 13 from the field, came off the bench, and he was hitting fadeaway 2-pointers. If he can just be healthy, I wish we still had Jimmy, of course, but if he can be healthy, man, He's going to be great for us. He was the main reason we actually won that game. But my lean for the NBA pick today, let's go to the Magic Thunder. It opened at 221.5, and it's now 223.5. Give me the over on that. The Magic suffered an embarrassing kind of form of loss yesterday, and they're going to come back home. If you didn't guys see, the coach benched his starters because they just stopped giving a crap. And then the bench players brought it within 12 with 4 minutes left, which is very doable in the NBA. And he kept his bench players out. And you can see how pissed and hungry the starters looked. And they probably, and honestly, that's good coaching. We've seen great coaches do that kind of thing before. I've seen Steve Kerr do it. I've seen Imo Doku do that kind of thing, sending a message. And they're facing a great offense in the Thunder. And this problem with the Thunder, the defense hasn't been the same lately. If you look at their last 11 games, they only held 2 of their last 11 opponents to under 100 points. So their defense hasn't been doing great. Their offense has been doing well, and Magic have been able to score. The defense has been leaky. So I think there's a reason it moved up 2 points. I would still take the over 223.5. I think this is going to be a high scoring game. The starters are going to be hungry, and of course with Shea, they're going to be able to score quite a bit of points and hit threes. So I like this over.
Hey, we didn't do recap earlier, but remind me what happened to your over from yesterday.
Oh, the over hit. It was the final was like 124 to 112. It was scary in the beginning, and then it looked good, and then it got scary again. But the over did hit for the Hawks and Magic.
Yes, it did. And just while we're on the recap screen, I think we did 3-2 for the brand yesterday. I got my soccer pick in that cashed nicely. Brentford scored, Fiorentina scored. Both of them scored 2+ goals. I should have just done that. And then Rayo Vallecano and Levant, that scored 2 in the total game, so the under 3.5 cashed. The NHL play did not cash. Dallas Stars threw up a dud. But my NBA moneyline parlay at +108 did hit with the Warriors, Trailblazers, and Celtics, so that was nice. Yeah, it's been a weird in the NHL lately. A lot of upsets.
And then of course the Avalanche, I didn't know what, like when I was looking at the 4-2, I was like, oh, is it the end of the second period? No, it was the end of the first period. And then all of a sudden they scored like 3 more goals, the Penguins. I don't know what was going on with the Avalanche goalie, but hey, I'm glad it ended sooner, so I know it was dead sooner and I could pay attention to something else, you know?
Yes, I do. I do. All right, let's get into college basketball today, man. We got 6 p.m. Kickoff. What can we expect today? Is there any best bets for today specifically? And then we can get into the rest of March Madness if you're interested in kind of recapping a bet or two that you have for either a future or a prop bet. I think prop bet might be appropriate for this show.
Yeah, definitely. I would say my best bet, of course, for this is UMBC money line. It's actually reducing as Howard's getting steam, which I always love to see. I think you can see on Fanatics that like UMBC is like -110 right now, and I think DK is even lower too. And I just love this UMBC Retrievers team overall. I think they have a better offense than Howard has a defense, and Howard's strengths. Howard's strengths do not attack UMBC's weaknesses, it actually attacks their strengths. There are a lot of contradictory factors. So when there's a lot of contradictory factors, I go to how much difference is their offense and defense. UMBC has a slightly worse defense, but they have a much better efficient offense. I don't just like look at efficiency. I like to look at the effective field goal percentage. And then I also will look at between these two teams who have like the 364th, the 365th strength of schedule. I like to look at who they face in the non-conference. The reason why Howard has a higher non-conference schedule is because they faced, I'm pretty sure, like teams like Duke and stuff, and they got blown out by them. But UMBC, the only thing they got blown out by was George Washington in non-conference, really. But they played close with Dayton. They played close, who was a pretty dang good team. They've played close with other teams as well. And I just like this UMBC team. I think UMBC might have the first, second, and third best players on the court between Ace Valentine. The Bison are a good team, but they don't have great offense. But Ace Valentine, DJ Armstrong, and Jaleel King. Give me UMBC Retrievers. Keep Howard. People, I hope that Howard keeps gaining steam, so it keeps going lower. I'm looking forward to looking at how the game starts, of course. But I just think Howard's Howard's defense won't be able to fully contain UMBC's offense, and they rely on a lot of turnovers. And UMBC's offense loves to protect the ball really well. I know we kind of mentioned with Vanderbilt, but I don't think Howard's like a McNeese, where they're 24% turnover rate against top tier teams. So yeah, give me the UMBC Retrievers.
Yeah, we talked about this last night. I love it. I do. I
Woof
think it's a
woof.
sharp play. Yeah. You got anything else for us today?
Yeah, so I don't have any take in the Texas NC State game, personally. I'm just gonna more so.
Slightest of leans to NC State, though.
Yeah, slightest of leans to NC State. I know you mentioned the under and stuff, in that way, and I would say slightest of leans to NC State. Part of the reasons, revenge game. I love revenge spots, and I think this would be a really good revenge spot for NC State. You can make. I mean, Sean Miller is the coach of Texas, who is a really good coach, and Will Wade is the coach of NC State, who was the coach of McNeese, which is why he brought Copeland with him for a package deal. But I just trust NC State here more. I think they can play slightly better defense than Texas can. NC State's biggest problem will be dealing with Vulcan Titus, a 7-foot monster for Texas. But if they can get him in foul trouble, it'll be an issue for Texas. But yeah, give me NC State if I had to pick one.
Yeah, and like you said, I have the under in that one as well. That's a model play from Mike McClure. All right, any tournament props that you might like? Hint, hint.
Yep, exactly. The one that I know I mentioned yesterday, of course, is the buzzer beater prop. You can find on plus 110, I believe, on DK and plus 115 for Fanatics. That's a great one. It hasn't hit. Last time it didn't hit was 2019. Last year when it hit, I don't know if you guys remember, it was the infamous Derek Queen. They thought it was a travel, but technically it wasn't. Where you hit the buzzer beater against, I think it was Colorado State with Nick Clifford. And that was a good one. What do you guys think of that one?
Absolutely love it. That is why I pushed it so hard for today's show. I think it's an absolute perfect pick to start your day. You know what I mean? This could be a sweat until the championships, but I don't think it will be.
Yeah, I think it's bound to happen, right? And where do we get that again, Drew? DK, but how do you get there?
Yeah, definitely.
How do you find that?
Yeah, definitely. I know on DK what you want to do. You pull that up. If you want to go on Fanatics, what you do is you click on NCAAM, and then there's a tab. You scroll all the way over to specials, and you click on specials, and that will pop up. If you go to DK, you scroll all the way over. You click on NCAAM. You scroll over. You go to buzzer beaters on the tab, and you want to scroll all the way down to will there be a buzzer beater in the NCAA tournament? So there's going to be two, right? Will there be a buzzer beater in the 2026 men's first four? No, we're not doing that one. Will be a buzzer beater in the first round? We're not doing that one. We're doing an all the NCAA tournament at plus 110. So make sure you guys look at that closely.
Okay, it's not under futures, right? It's all the way on the
Yeah,
regular
so
tab?
You just have to scroll all the way to the right. You'll see it.
Okay, I'll talk to you about it privately
Yeah,
afterwards.
definitely.
Okay.
And then I would say another one I like, it's exclusively for the Fanatics listeners. You click on Tournament 10s tab when you go on the Tournament 10s tab when you go on NCAAM. And then it will be 10 or more upsets by seed in round of 64 at plus 1,000. This has covered in 9 of the last 13 tournaments, personally, which is really good value for plus 1,000. Remember, listeners, this isn't necessarily supposed to hit. This is a value play. So I recommend, putting like 0.10 units or stuff, or even 0.05, because you put 0.10 units on it, you can win 1 unit after it if it does hit. But like I said, this is just by seeding. It's not by odds. So like a 9 over an 8 counts, which is amazing to think of. And if I see something that has hit, like 9 out of 13 times, which is a 69% hit rate, that's very good value in my personal opinion. And that's another one. And I have a couple more to mention. What do you guys think of that one?
I like it a lot. I think it's historically it's hit most years, right? So, you're right. It doesn't count chalk underdogs from an 8 and 9 seed. So I think this is a nice high value play. I wish I had Fanatics.
Perfect. And then another one is honestly, DK has, even though DK doesn't have that one, DK has a lot of more options when it comes to like madness props, they call it, because they're actually madness props. So if you guys are a believer, right, that because I'm going to remind people, it's only happened 2 times ever where all 4 1 seeds made it to the Final Four. It happened last year, and that could be a trend that may be broken. In the year before, the other time was 2008 when Kansas won it all. I believe it was Kansas, UNC, Memphis, and I forgot the other school, but. Because when Memphis had Derrick Rose and Mario Chalmers' famous shot, go Kansas. But anyways, if you guys are a firm believer in 1 seeds, this will be a trend that will continue with how top heavy 1 seeds are again this year. A really good prop to look at is number 1 seeds to reach the Final Four. If you go on Madness props, is over 2.5 at plus 190. And then, you know what? There's actually another one that you guys can do. If you believe all 4 1 seeds will make it, this is worth I think sprinkling on, right? Which is like zero point 0.10 units or plus zero point 0.05. If you bet for exactly 4 teams that are number 1 seeds to make it, so all 1 seeds make it to Final Four, it's plus 1,400. Exactly 3 is plus 270. So it's a big drop off. So if you want to put like 0.05 units on plus 1,400, that is really good value. If you think, Florida, Duke, Michigan, Arizona all make it to the Final Four, that's not bad value. You can add some bonus bets to it. And yeah, I would say just play around with these props, look at these props, make sure you read them in depth, in my opinion, before you do decide to bet them. And just remember, bet wisely. Don't be putting full units on like plus 1,400 and stuff like that. But what do you guys think about that possible all 4 1 seeds if you're a believer in that stuff?
Statistically, I guess it would be highly unlikely historically, but we've seen the chalk. And honestly, I'm looking at the models here, and the chalk loves, or I should say the model loves the chalk, just like it did last year. And it happened last year. So I don't mind a little sprinkle. I'm going to put $5 on it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I spoke about this also on the podcast last night. I think this is a more of a top heavy field here, where your number 1 seeds are probably going to be significantly better than the rest of the field. And so again, if there were to be a repeat of the number 1 seeds all advancing, I think chalk might be in play here. And so I'm with you on that. I'll definitely sprinkle on
Oh, and
that
I'll
as well.
also say, guys, if also on DK, lastly, right? There is the number 1 seeds reach the Final Four over 2.5 plus 190. Actually looking at it instead, if you guys want to do that, don't bet that, right? Personally, just bet this is way better value too. I like looking at this stuff. If you just bet exactly 3 and exactly 4, you can actually make more money that way, because exactly 3, right, is plus 270, while the over 2.5 is plus 190. So the only 2 ones that can happen is 3 and 4 for that. So if you want to put like half a unit on exactly 3 and 0.05 units on exactly 4, you actually can make more money that way. So that's my advice for that.
Always looking for those opportunities. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Any last?
Yeah, I have
Sorry, go on.
no, go ahead. Any last thoughts, Drew?
No,
Because I
I've
got a question for you. Do you have
yeah.
anything else
I'm
before I ask my
still like
question?
looking around the props too that I'll probably mention tomorrow, but those are the ones that stuck out for me.
Okay, so I like to throw curveballs at you. I'm going to try to throw another one here. For those of us who are college basketball super fans, right? I'll put it politely. I wanted to say junkies, but we'll make it a little bit nicer. As college basketball super fans, we have the NIT in action here. If you don't have any thoughts on it, that's fine. I'm looking at the slate here. Liberty at George Mason, UNCW at Yale, Wyoming, Wichita State. Is there anything, first of all, yeah, have you had a chance to look at it at all? You might not have, but if you have, any like just basic general thoughts on any of these teams in the NIT?
Yes.
Maybe who we like, going forward, stuff like that. Anything at all for
Yeah,
those teams?
definitely. Because NIT starts today, too. And there's a lot of games for the NIT today, which is really nice to see. My thoughts for the listeners for this is I'm a big fan of this George Mason team facing Liberty. I think that's really good edge. I think George Mason's just better than Liberty. I know Liberty was top of the conference, but George Mason played in a tougher conference in the A10, and they've beaten like St. Louis and stuff like that. I can just go by UNCW versus Yale. I've no take in that game. Both teams are pretty even, in my opinion. I know Yale is heavily favored. It's kind of weird seeing Yale in the NIT and not being in the tournament, of course. And then the only other game that I would there's only a couple other games that I am interested in looking at is SF Austin and Tulsa. SF Austin, heavy underdogs against Tulsa. I know SF Austin, is not necessarily as great as Tulsa, but I can see SF Austin covering that. And then another game, UNLV and UC Irvine. UC Irvine to my heart. I thought they were going to make the tournament. I do like. I do like this UNLV versus UC Irvine matchup, and I'm just looking forward to watching that game. It's definitely a clash of styles, a great defense, which is a pretty good offense. So I'll probably be watching that game at 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern. But if you have any questions on any games of those, let me know because I know all those teams, and some of them were dear to my heart, and they didn't make the tournament, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm glad you touched on the Yale game because that was the one that piqued my interest, just because I think we all thought that Yale was going to make it to the tournament. So it was kind of shocking that they lost the Ivy League conference tournament that obviously put them in the NIT. But you don't have a strong feeling on that, so I'll stay away from that one. But other than that, no, I appreciate your thoughts on that, and I always going to give the listeners some additional plays if we can, some different looks and stuff. In college basketball. So appreciate that. Stern, where do you want to take us next?
I just want to give out 2 plays. I'm not going to go into the full details here, other than I think that both teams here are fraudulent. Go listen to our podcast last night, breaking down every single game of March Madness. It really was a great episode last night. But I'm going to take Utah State -1.5 over Villanova. Villanova dealing with a few injuries here. Utah State, the line has completely flipped from being underdogs to favorites, and I'm still going to buy it at -1.5. I think there's value there at -125. At -115. The other game that I'm looking at is probably the most fraudulent team that made it into the tournament. That's going to be Iowa State -1.5 over Clemson. Any thoughts on that, Drew? If you wanted to add into it, again, if you want the full analysis, we did break it down last night. But
you said Iowa over Clemson. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. No, I love that. I love the Utah State and Iowa pick. Especially since Clemson is missing one of their best players, and Iowa, they just have, I think, the best player on the floor. And Bennett Sturts, when he was with Drake, and Ben McCollum, the coach, was when he was with Drake. They won their last. They have a better history than Clemson does. As you think of Clemson in the tournament, they don't really make deep runs, and I think both teams play slow, but Iowa has a better offense. Villanova, too many injuries. Utah State, I think, is the overall underrated better team. And I think Utah State ends up winning that. And lastly, I will say with the NIT guys, I'm never going to accuse kids or anybody of not trying, but they're always going to be I've seen so many times for the NIT where you think a team is clearly better, but they just don't have the same will to win because they're disappointed they didn't make it to the NCAA tournament, to where it's not that they're trying, it's just the other team wants it more. And, so the NIT can be hard to bet on for that reason.
Yep. Yeah. I don't even need to make picks anymore. I'm just going to, I should say make analysis for picks. I'm just going to hand it to you and you can do all the work for me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And if I would have to make one pick right now, guys, to look at that I like for Thursday, personally, my favorite pick right now for Thursday, and I'm still going to see how the line moves for the St. Mary's game because I think A&M is starting to gain steam. But I love that. Over. I know I'm on different sides with Stern, but I love that over for the High Point, Wisconsin game. That's one I'm officially going to place. But I am officially waiting for the Texas A&M and St. Mary's part two things because I think St. Mary's, Texas A&M is going to gain steam just because of their name brand. And then I know I'm with Stern on the St. Louis to cover +3.5. I think it moved to 2.5 now. And but yeah, we'll definitely go over the Thursday games more. But I know Utah State plays on Friday. That's an amazing play, and I love that too.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get this kind of ball rolling, pun intended. All right, let's recap our best bets here and get on out of here. It's closing up on the end of the hour. Drew, why don't you hit us off?
Yeah, my 2 best bets for today are UMBC money line. I think at a -110 or -115 right now, and then the other one is the Thunder Magic over 223.5. It's at -110.
Awesome. I'm going to recap this just from yesterday. Kansas first half minus 7.5 at minus 122. You can get that at minus 115 now. The price has dropped a little bit. Utah State minus 1.5 at minus 115. Iowa minus 1.5 at minus 125. In the Champions League, I have a 2-leg money line parlay featuring Man City and Liverpool at minus 118. And then finally in the World Baseball Classic, USA minus 1.5 at minus 128 for a half a unit. Prince, close us out, man.
Yeah, so for sure, I've got Champions League plays today. If you guys are interested in those, be sure to check out our Champions League preview show. It was a great episode with a lot of good information in that. So for sure, you're going to want to check that out. But as far as our domestic leagues today, I like in the England National League North, I'm looking at AFC Filed Hereford over 2.5 goals. We're going to parlay that with AFC Telford United. Macclesfield over 1.5 goals, and you're going to get that England National League North parlay at around minus 130. I also like in the England National League South, another 2-pick parlay here, Dagenham Redbridge to score against Farnborough, and you're going to parlay that with Dorking, a draw no bet against Enfield Town. That parlay comes out to around minus 140. And then in the NBA for me tonight, just a 3-pick parlay. I like the Cavs on the money line against the Bucks. I also like the Thunder on the money line against Orlando, and we're going to cap that off with the Spurs minus 4.5 against the Sacramento Kings, and you're going to get that at around minus 128 value. That's going to do it for us today, guys. This has been the OnlyBets Sports Betting Podcast. Alongside my co-host SternBets and DrewDelucchi, I'm Prince of Picks. Thanks as always for tuning in. We will talk to you guys soon. Thanks, everyone.